Paul Pruitt is not exactly a household name in the affiliate marketing world, and yet he has consistently finished in the top 10 of major affiliate launches over the past few years. Today, Paul reveals the strategies he used to once again finish in the top 10 of one of the biggest affiliate launches ever. So listen to this, learn from Paul, and apply what he shares, and you'll be on your way to the leaderboard. If you're ready to take your affiliate program and your business to the next level, well, you're in the right place. I'm Matt McWilliams, best-selling author and 4-time Affiliate Manager of the Year, and I've built dozens of affiliate programs from the ground up to over $1 million a month. I'm here to show you how you can do it too. Let's get started. So today you're going to learn how an unknown affiliate went to the top of the leaderboard in less than 2 years. This is the story of Paul Pruitt. I'm so excited to share this because this is a story of a guy that I only got to know recently as of the time that I recorded this interview. And then I got to watch him go from like just outside the top 10 in a big launch to just inside the top 10 to 7th to 5th to top 5, like just unbelievable progress. And I asked him a couple of years ago to do an interview for some of our paid students, and they loved it. No, this is one of those interviews that they absolutely just raved about because the lessons are so practical. How he went from literally just starting his business, kind of dipping his toe into affiliate marketing, making a little bit of money, and going a little bit higher, a little bit higher, a little bit higher. And it's just such a great story. And so I wanted to make this available to everyone. I wanted the world to be able to hear this and not have to pay a dime for it, even though it's clearly worth, well, hopefully worth tens of thousands or more to you if you actually apply what he shares in this episode. So that's my hope, is that you make a ton of money off just this episode. So here's the deal. If you've got affiliates, share this with them. Share how he got better and better. And if you're an affiliate yourself, learn from him and make a whole lot more money. So that's my hope for this episode. So with that, let's jump right into my talk with Paul Pruitt. We're going to jump right in here, guys. Welcome, Paul Pruitt, guys.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm really blessed to be here. And yet I would say I'm passive in the sense that I just sit back and absorb, and I do that in the real world as well. A lot of people think I'm an introvert initially. I just like to learn and absorb and like feel the room out before I know where I fit in. So thank you for having me on here. I'm really blessed to be here.
So are you an introvert?
I wouldn't classify myself an introvert.
Okay.
It's something that I'll say that I have, it's something that I discovered younger and then older, it came back. Anxiety about publicly reading something. I didn't realize it just came back like in recent time. And I know we're going to jam in on some PLF launching and stuff. And I didn't realize this until in recent years that Melissa and I did a PLF style launch back in like 2016. And we had a professional crew and they were doing a teleprompter. And when I started reading, I tripped up, got in my head, started repeating words. It brought me back to my childhood. Like I'm a riffer. Like I can riff. You give me 3 bullet points, and like I know my thing, and I'll just do it. But when I started reading, like I didn't realize like I had this public phobia of doing that. So
Wow,
it was a lot to learn there. Yeah,
interesting. That's I don't know how. I guess I've been using teleprompters. So I was like 22 when I used my first teleprompter. That's 40 years. Yeah, almost 40 years ago. Early 2002. And for some reason I just got it, and it's like, sometimes you just don't know, like, why is that? I have no idea. It's not that, oh, I practiced this or I practiced, like, I was nervous. I was a nervous wreck. I'm like, the words are going to be moving. How am I supposed to, and like, I'm thinking my eyes are going to be going like this, and I'm going to be just a total doofus. And, I did it the very first time. And like, the guy was like, he goes, he's like, you've done this before. I'm like, no, I really haven't. He's like, there's no way. He's like, you've done this before. I'm like, no, really, I haven't. And so for some reason, there's just weird things like that. I think the important thing is when we identify those, there's a lesson, like tap into them. And when we don't have them, the lesson for you, I think, getting away from the affiliate side, but the lesson for you is Don't give Paul a script. Give him
Yeah,
the bullet points, and then let him,
yeah,
go from there. And
yeah. Because I've
think that's
spoken in
important.
front of more than 6,000 people, but it's like I knew I have internalized the script, so it's just something. It's I think for all of us, on this journey, especially with internet marketing, everything, we have to find our strengths and our weaknesses, and just identify and lean in to amplify what works,
Yeah.
and surround yourself with other people. Like Melissa's incredible that way with reading and stuff. But I digress. I'm getting on tangents here. This is all about
Oh, no
affiliate
worries.
marketing.
I think that was an important lesson. It's like it's not about the whether you can use a teleprompter or not. It's,
Yeah.
like I have people all the time. They're like, "Well, I can't start a podcast because I don't like talking." Well, then write. People still read, y'all. Like you don't have to have a podcast.
True.
I don't read, but I've never. I mean, I read, but I'm
Mhm.
mostly an auditory learner. So I
Yeah.
listen to audiobooks. So if you're going to get me, by the way, don't, I got a bookshelf back here. I haven't read very many of those. I listen to the books. I listen to the audio version now. Um, and just a side note there, but yeah, tap into that strength, whether it be an
Yeah.
inborn strength or a strength that maybe you developed over the course of 10 years of, you didn't even mean to. Maybe you
Yeah.
learned a lot about something and you didn't even mean to learn a lot about it. I don't know.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this promotion you did for Product Launch Formula. First of all, it wasn't just you; it was you and your wife Melissa.
Yes.
And you guys are business partners, though, just to be clear too. So you're like my wife Tara and I. You guys are, I presume, equal business partners.
Uh, Definitely equal, if not more. If she was not involved, this would be a house of cards. I'm an idea person. I've always been that way, and she's very structured.
Yep.
And we wouldn't even be on this call today if she did. She is actually at a doctor appointment and still texted me to remind me to get on this call. That's how
Ah,
she knows me so well. So it's
that's
definitely a
funny.
delicate balance. Yeah, and we're of course we're married and have an incredible life together on a personal end, but we are actually very well balanced business wise also.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you guys promoted uh, one of the biggest, product launch affiliate launches of the entire calendar year, and it has been for, 15 years. Something that we were super blessed too to get to see from behind the scenes because we were coaching Jeff's team on that. But this was how many times have you promoted PLF before?
Uh, Last year and this year, and
Uh,
last year was one of those, and I'm sure a lot of us are that way, where it's kind of like, oh yeah, I was going to promote this. Maybe I should send out an email
uh,
before they close cart. So I think we sent out like two or three emails last year, and I think we might have gotten like 8 or 9 sales or something, just because we had some people that were in our audience that were aligned for it.
sure.
But it was very much a 11th hour type thing. We had other things going on and that were in conflict, and but it was like one of those things like, oh yeah, better, we were going to get part of this. So but this year we definitely treat our affiliate launches. We actually put them in our schedule
Yeah,
as
good.
a or a B level style launch for us, like a main launch or a secondary launch.
And that would be lesson number one, y'all. Um, treat them like your own launch. Put them in the calendar. We talk a lot about the ATM, or no, not the ATM report, the backstage pass. Last month was all about creating content, which leads to warming up your audience. You can't warm up your audience if you don't know what you're warming them up for. So put it
True.
in your calendar, have it in there, months in advance, if at all possible. Sometimes a year in advance. I know
Mhm.
we've got them planned through August, and we actually have one in our calendar for next November. So we're almost a year ahead. That's how you should be. You should treat them like that so you can plan on those things. Now, when I introduced you to Chris on the. You had already committed to promoting, but it wasn't like I said here. Let me here introduce you in that way. But I think you had DM'd me and said, hey, I really would like to do well. What do you recommend? I'm like, let me introduce you to Chris. I will tell you privately that I texted him and Jeff Walker and said, look out for this guy. I'm going to call it. He's going to finish in 5th or 6th place.
Mhm.
And they both responded back like, really? And I'm like, yep, I'm calling it. I'm like, no offense to you, Paul. I'm like, I know he's not going to win. Not there yet.
Right.
He'll get there in a few years, but he's not going to win this year. but I'm predicting fifth place, sixth place. Might even surprise you and pull in fourth place. What place did you actually finish?
It was 6. It
Yeah,
was
nailed that one.
we tried a little, we put a little, push in, but, some people that have way bigger lists, we're all about guerrilla marketing, so it's just something we're the
Yep,
it's the David and the Goliath, and, our list is not as big as the others, and,
exactly.
we're
Not even
very
close,
thankful this
really.
year. We've been part of the top, 5 to 10 and, a couple launches, this year. I think we caught a lot of people off guard,
Yeah.
but, it's a lot of grassroots, old school, guerrilla marketing versus just being able to push a button and go to a mass audience, with little effort.
Yeah, I want to share this. This was I asked permission to share this because this was a private message in our system, and we use Basecamp with our clients. And so let me pull this up real quick because now that screen just went dead. Um, I had this all prepared, y'all. And okay, there you go. So this was a private message from Chris, Chris is the affiliate manager for Jeff Walker, and the subject line was Paul Pruitt. And I remember seeing this come across my email. Like I get the Basecamp notifications email. I didn't open it there, but I saw it, and I had this like I'm like thinking I'm like I'm just gonna be honest. My first thought was, oh crap, what did Paul do?
That
Like
would be my
did
reaction.
did he do something nefarious? Like I know you won't, but I'm like, did he
Yeah.
unintentionally do something that he wasn't supposed to do? And then like my mind's going into these different places. I'm like, no, or he's slipping, and Chris needs to know how to communicate with Paul and need to know how to get him back up. And anyway, he sent me this message, and shit's not loading. I was going to read it to you word for word, but I'll just give you the gist. He was like, they just had a team meeting. Um, no, it's not loading. Just had a team meeting, and they were talking about, we were talking about Paul Pruitt. Wow. I remember he wrote like wow with like 6 exclamation points and like 14 emojis, and basically said, just wanted to, thank you for telling him to come talk to us. He's just blowing us all away. Like he's been the surprise of the launch. So I just thought you'd like to know that. I wish
Yeah,
I'll
that's
send
awesome.
you the exact message when I remember. Really cool that that you were that was the reaction they were getting from you.
Mm,
And the cool thing is it's like, and I know you know this, but yeah, you're on their radar.
right.
And that can lead to some big things in the future. So just wanted to share that with you.
Thank you.
Um, so let's talk about strategy. I mean, smaller list, um, sixth place again. Um, this was Jeff. They missed their biggest launch ever by a couple of sales. And when I say a couple of sales, I literally mean it was like less than $10,000. For somebody who's been doing this for whatever 15, 16 years, to have your second biggest launch, and it was the biggest in quite some time, that's pretty awesome. You played a huge role in that. What were some of the things that you did, just strategy wise? What would you say was maybe your one of your top five that you would share with us?
Yeah. So what we typically do, and again, because we do look at this as like one of our own launches, because there is, for us, we look at the entire buyer journey, and because we've been doing this for many years, in different respects. So it's like, just instead of looking at it as like one sale, one opportunity, it's being very conscious that the people in our world that we influence, this is going to be like a slice or a moment of their own buyer journey and communications with us, right? So knowing that, it's like, okay, for us, it is like, what is the pre-launch conversation that we need to have to guide the messaging and the momentum to create awareness, in this case for product launch formula, which is all about launching. So like, how do we start a launch dialogue in advance, and what mechanisms can we put in front of this to guide people in? So we did do a challenge called now this is a tongue twister, we'll change the name next year, but it was called the Challenge Launch Challenge. So we did a small low level challenge where we just spoke into one spoke of launches, and people do know us that we have very successful multi six figure launches of our own products that are around challenges itself.
Okay.
So really what we did, without talking about product launch formula, we gave a very light, high level, exposure to people that came into that into that challenge, which was on the front end of, before we were like guiding people into, the pre-launch of product launch formula. So what we did is we did this challenge, and it was a low level paid challenge. We normally do free ones and paid. And with this, it was $10, and we had several hundred people that came in into that. So a bucket of our people out of our ecosystem came in
Yeah.
from that because we created a launch conversation. And but it was like, okay, well, we went through these 7 days to teach you these things, but really where we learned it from is our good friend Jeff over here.
Mm.
And what we covered on the things that you need to work on, he covers it more in depth in this space or over in this. So we try to be the bridge. So our pre-launch ourselves, or our mechanism, is setting people up to desire his pre-launch. So it's not like we just like I did the year before. Is like, oh crap, we forgot to do something. Let me just hit my list and say click this button, which is like the 11th hour Hail Mary, hoping that people are going to click through and make a couple bucks. It's like we treated this as a launch, so we were very specific. Now, I'll tell you is that just like what you were saying earlier on, our entire following year, by November, we already had scheduled out our entire year as far as all of our launches. Now, what I'll say is we have our own products, like our own memberships and courses, but there are a couple of very big launches that we're affiliates with as well. We place those in because we can't change their timelines. So
Sure.
we actually place their, like when their launch is, so that then we can coordinate our launches around them to either segue. Again, people are coming, it's a buyer journey. So people are coming in and out. And I have to say is that the guerrilla marketing side of me is that when I'm dedicated 100% on like acting like as if this was our own launch, then what happens is we're able to clear the calendar, clear the schedule, not do other promotions that cloud the conversation. And we're focused solely like one lane instead of a 5 lane highway with our list. We're like, here's one thing that we're bringing people through. And what that does, it also gives us me time freedom and energy freedom, is to look at like, instead of saying, oh, I could do paid ads over here that could amplify, or I could do a Facebook group, or I could, send my things to my email list, or I could, it's like, no, I can look at the entire ecosystem and use the word and instead of or. So it's like, because a lot of people, and I try to be as helpful as possible inside of these affiliate, in the
Sure.
partner Facebook groups, like, oh, does anybody have any ideas? And it's like, I just always like, should I do this or should I do this? And it's like, well, get rid of the word or and throw in, if you have the space and time, throw in the word and, so it's like,
Mm.
what is this person that maybe is going through this launch? Are they searching on YouTube? Are they searching on Google? Are they in Facebook groups asking questions? Like, are they already struggling somewhere else in the ethos in the world? What are the conversations that would they be typing in, asking questions about? Are you speaking into those conversations in your email? Are you doing Facebook Lives? So I would do Facebook Lives every day. I just speak into one micro topic. So what we normally teach in our adaptive program is I call it double zooming in. So it's like, okay, if the conversation later on is going to be all encompassing about launching, so how do I zoom in on that? Okay, so as an example, like we just talked about, I would say challenge launches. And then I would say, okay, well, that's just one layer zoomed in. So how can I zoom in on challenge launches? So it could be like, okay, how do you fill a challenge launch? Okay, well, now I can actually triple zoom in on that. So, because that's still a big topic. So it's like, what is the one email? What's our top converting email that get people into our challenge launches? So now that's my email topic. That's my Facebook Live. That's what I'm going to talk about in a Facebook group or a community. If I go on Clubhouse, that's what I'm going to talk about. So
Mm.
we try to double or triple zoom in on like a micro topic, because if you like that topic, then you're going to want to know about launching.
Yeah.
Like you. So now I have something to talk about every single day of the week leading up to the launch.
So clarifying question here. Do you
Sure.
you did a 7 day challenge leading into Jeff's masterclass or leading into
Yeah.
open cart?
Leading into his masterclass.
Okay. So when did the challenge start and end in relation to when his masterclass started? Because I forget what day of the week you would remember. What
Yeah.
day of the week did his masterclass start? Was it a Friday?
So we were allowed to email, I think, on a Tuesday,
Tuesday
and I
for
think it
Friday, I think.
started. 2 days, 2 or 3 days after that. So what we did is we landed the last day of the challenge as the first day we were allowed to tell everybody to go into his thing.
Okay.
Does that
Okay.
make into his
Yeah.
pre-launch?
So a
So what it
little bit of
is hey,
space
space.
between your challenge, a little bit of space, so it wasn't just like like 10 days in a row.
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering. So very cool.
Well, yeah. So if you think about it, we supported the Facebook group of our challenge for the entire month. That way,
Yeah,
they
sure.
would go through. It would almost be like that bucket of people because we still did a study group during the pre-launch itself to create conversations there. But during the challenge, we would have normally on that last day we would have made our own offer. We would have said, "Hey, we got this course or we got this membership, come into it." So instead, we just had a different call to action. So we just brought them into signing up for Jeff's program. But what we did is we didn't stop the conversation there. We had bonus trainings and other things throughout so that we could still keep interest and keep the attention not just on what Jeff was teaching, but on us. So when they made that decision, they didn't get distracted because we all
Sure.
know that in this type of space, people are if they're on your email list, they're probably on two or three other people's email lists, and they're getting hit really hard. And like, here's a bonuses and
Hmm.
all kinds of things. So we're trying to keep people like focused and engaged to go through
Yeah.
like our world. Yeah.
No, that makes sense. I mean, that's one of the beauties that I love about anything like this. It doesn't have to be a challenge. It could be a workshop. It could be even just it could be just starting a Facebook group, where I'm
Yeah.
gonna share a 2-minute lesson every day, something like that. It puts them, it kind of, it silos them in a sense, kind of keeps them in your lane.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things that we teach so often. I know you know this, but it's like, okay, yeah, create a mini course, do something where on that Tuesday, when they are getting 7 emails from everybody else, they were on your challenge.
Yeah.
They were focused on your challenge. In fact, I would guess they probably ignored many of those emails because they've got the blinders on, with your challenge. Again, it could be a workshop, it could be anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. That's, the challenge itself isn't the point here, guys. But they put the blinders on, and in a big launch like this, again, the good news is everybody's promoting it. That's actually good for affiliates on a macro level.
Yeah.
The bad news is if your people can be going, like this, put those blinders on, lock them in. You've had 7 days of being the challenge launch guy. And in their minds, you're the launch expert now.
Yeah.
And then you went, nope, here's the guy. So why would they go through so and so's link or so and so's link or that person's link? They wouldn't even cross their minds because they don't associate with them with as launch expert like they associate you. And I think I don't know if you did that on purpose, but that is just
Yeah.
brilliant. That's how that
Yeah.
works, guys.
Well,
Um,
that's why we start off with knowing on the calendar where we want people to land,
yep.
and then we're very purposeful. We've done this the last couple of years, and as you know, we've been in the top 5 of some other large launches as well, and we just had a different challenge that we put in front of it, and we previously done free challenges. This is really a test this time. Is that in our sense, it's like we can have bigger numbers if we did a free challenge, have way more people subscribe. But what we had is several
Sure.
hundred people that made a micro commitment of putting a transaction. So we had people that were more focused and that were showing up because they already did a transaction with us, that they're like more engaged in the challenge. So the blinders definitely are on a little bit better because they paid to put the
Mhm.
blinders on with us, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So
People who
it's
pay
like,
pay
it's
attention.
yeah. And so when we land them there, and that was done very purposefully, and we also made sure we aligned. We already knew that going through the challenge launch itself, like teaching about challenges as a launch mechanism, that we would create desire for challenges. For people to want to learn more. Because the natural thing would have been at the end of that is for us to launch a product that was a course about challenges. Well, that's exactly what we did. Is we gave that to them as a bonus. They used our link.
Ah, well, that answered
So
my next question. I was ready to
yeah,
ask you.
yeah. So we dovetailed and created pressure. So we do have some people that actually bought into PLF that actually just wanted the course.
Yeah.
because we set them up so well that the natural release from our challenge would have been we have a high converting challenges course, and that was the most irresistible bonus that we put in on the backside of that challenge. People were expecting us to sell the course, and we didn't. We brought them
Mm,
into Jeff's launch. They went and bought PLF, and one of the bonuses was a course that they really truly desired, but now they also get all the extra information. So it
yeah,
was a
I
no
love
brain.
that.
It was a complete no brainer.
Yep. Creating irresistible bonuses that they want independently of the thing they're buying. And a lot of people would argue, well, why would I create this, in this case, the challenge course? Why would I create that and then offer it as a bonus when I can just sell it? Like if people want just that, what's the point of doing it as an affiliate? Well, it's all those side benefits that we've talked about of, yeah, you could go sell the challenge course and you would have maybe the same amount of money, or, I don't know how much you would value the challenge course at, but I'd probably say, tell me what the value is. What'd you guys
Well,
price it at?
we did sell it directly to the public in the
Mhm.
past, and we did it
Okay.
this past year as a beta, and we did offer it for 1,000. And in
Yeah.
July, we're actually going to offer it again publicly, a full challenge launch into the high converting
Yeah.
challenges course. So you just have to wait 6 months if you want to get it through the PLF,
Yeah. I mean,
bonus.
that's what I
You
was
know,
going to say is like, I
yeah,
probably would have said it was $1,000 course,
yeah,
possibly a little bit higher.
yeah.
So it's like, well, we can make the 1,000 versus an $800 commission. Like, why would somebody do that? Well, number one, prizes. Those are, you guys made a lot more, thousands of dollars in
Mm,
prizes. Number two,
yeah.
again, that recognition. It may not be a decision you would make 10 years from now, but right
Mm,
now, uh, I would venture to say that one of the biggest reasons why you're building a brand that other
mm,
people recognize is because of promoting these affiliate offers. And
yeah.
I can guarantee you, Jeff Walker's team is not talking about your internal challenge launch.
Right,
They're
right.
talking about how you're doing on their affiliate leaderboard, and all those
Mhm.
other people who finished first, second, third, 10th, 12th are noted. They keep seeing. I don't know if you heard that. Sorry. I'm going to back up there. All right. Let me silent for just a moment here. Sorry. I think one of my kids might have died.
You want to go check?
No, like
Okay,
my wife's up there with them.
okay.
All right. I don't know where I was going with that. Dang it. Oh yeah. They're noticing you on that leaderboard, and that's going to create partnerships in the future. That's going to create, opportunities for podcast interviews. I don't know. It's going to create opportunities to be interviewed in AIM. I mean, the reality is, I know you know this and you won't take offense to it. If you weren't on those leaderboards, I wouldn't have reached out to you and said, "Hey, can I interview you?" I don't
Yeah,
for AIM. I don't really care about your challenge launch.
right.
I don't care about that. I care about your performance in affiliate promotions, and I see your name popping up, and it's creating
Mm,
opportunities for you. And so that's why you might take that little bit of a hit, and do that. And it does. It creates that irresistible offer for PLF, because I know I get all the time. People are like, "Matt, I was thinking about buying your course. I
mhm,
finally decided to buy PLF to get your course as a bonus." And my initial reaction is, "Dang it, I lost money." But then I went, "No, what did they tell me? I was thinking about buying your course.
mm,
Not I was already going to buy it. I was definitely going to buy it. I was thinking about it. Wasn't quite sweet enough for them."
yeah.
So basically, I
And it,
threw in PLF.
mhm,
Now I made the sale. That's how I look at it. So, dude,
and
that's awesome.
and I
Love it,
think
love
and
it,
I
love
think
it.
it
Um,
comes back to that buyer's
so
journey real quick. Yeah. The buyer's journey is that also you have to keep in mind is that if you have something built in your world, you have the back end benefit of doing all this as well. So not only do you get the authority and the
mm,
association and the status of like being associated and being there, but we also in the same space, a lot of us we send traffic that is congruent with our audience to an offer. We're not going to send random things, hopefully, to them. So people loop back to you for your future offers. So by me
mm,
promoting and putting this out in the world, we're actually now getting exposed to a new group of people as well as our existing people. And on the back end, they might not want whoever you send the traffic to, they might not want their back end offer. And through the experience, through your bonus experience, what you give, you might actually build more rapport with them where they come into your back end offers. And you would not have had that opportunity. So if you're only selling the movie ticket, you're always going to be selling the movie ticket because the people, as soon as people leave, you need more people to come into to your shop. But if you have a concession stand in your business, and you have, if you look at that true buyer journey, I'm sorry I cut you off there, because I just want
No.
to make sure that this is as important as that. Because if we look at this as a loss, yeah, if you only have one product in your entire inventory, I could see like you don't want to give away your value and you might be protective of that.
Sure.
But you also expand your opportunities. Then now you have this whole other group of people that you probably were not on the radar with before. Like you said, other, partnerships, but there's other people that are going to opt in on your email list because they just saw you, you're associate. Like for us to promote PLF, like I had the opportunity to interview Jeff. Well, that didn't exist before. So I put some ad money behind that. So what did that do? That raised my authority. People are like, who the heck's this Paul guy and why is he interviewing Jeff? So I probably have other people in my audience now on the back end that didn't take PLF, but now see us and we're on their radar that they never saw before. They might come into our adaptive membership. They might come into our inner
Mm.
circle, or private coaching. They might see something different that we provide, a problem that we solve. So I think if we think bigger picture and just not always focus just on like the one transaction, but like what's the back end benefit as well? What's the long term, the long game versus just a short game? That money that you think that you might be giving up by including your piece in there, you're also getting more people that are buyers that are saying, "Oh my goodness, last year with PLF, I bought through Paul's link and I took his high converting challenges course. Oh my goodness, it changed everything. We do, but oh, he doesn't, he's not going to offer that for a year. But you know what? I think he's launching that course next week. You should buy it. Like they're going to be referral
Mm.
sources for you. They're going to tell other people to buy your thing when it's off season. There's
Yeah.
a three-dimensional opportunity versus a lot of people look at the one-dimensional opportunity. Like here's the affiliate launch, and that's all they see. And there's so much more depth when you actually look at the entire buyer journey that these people are not just buying that thing. They're going to make other investments that are maybe possibly what you offer. And
Mm.
there's a lot longer benefit for you on the back end. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off
No,
there. I
no,
just
that's that's powerful. I mean, I know for us, yeah, they get into that one product. Um,
Mhm.
Typically we don't offer our high level products as bonuses. We offer the not that the quality is lower, it's just that they're the entry level product, right? Well, what
Yeah.
does the entry level product do? Leads directly into the next one and the next one. And it's like, I truthfully don't care how I get them into that low product. If I get them in through an affiliate, if I get them in through an ad, if I get them in through just they decided to buy, if I get them through a podcast episode, if I get them in as an affiliate bonus, if I get them in through offering it as a bonus for free when they buy somebody else's stuff. We've done a lot of that.
Mhm.
I'll go on a live
Absolutely.
stream and it's like, hey, everybody who's on this live stream, whether they buy through my link or not, you're going to get
Mhm.
this. Why would I offer that? Well, it's a $500 product. Well, first of all, these people have never heard of me. More than likely, they weren't going to buy anything from me anyway. Now they go buy, they get this $500 thing for free. They go through and they go, holy crap, that was awesome. Hey, do you offer coaching?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, we do, and it's substantially more expensive than giving up
Yeah.
that $500 course. So,
Exactly.
um, so I want to touch in on maybe one more strategy real quick because this has been awesome, guys. I've already got 8, amazing notes. What's something else you guys did, that really stood out as something that led to, like maybe it's one of those ways where you outpunted your coverage, so to speak. If you get the, for those of you who don't understand American football, that reference means nothing. But you just like this is something that you excelled in, really made a difference, was probably worth a spot or two on the leaderboard.
Um, we we've been leaning more and more into whatever is not scalable, do it.
Yeah.
And it's just we're in this internet marketing world and everybody's treating everybody like a one and zero and everybody's doing mass like we can't we just know like you have a bigger audience and you can push a button like we can't compete with that and it's okay. We're not competing with that. What the people we always look at like your biggest competitors, like what are their strengths and you reverse it and make it their weakness. So it's like somebody has a big, huge list. They just can't talk to people one on one. They can't help people get over that last objection into the final, thing. So our our in between page that we have, our bonus page that we send all of our traffic to, we have 4 layers on that page for people can contact us directly during that open cart period. So we have a live agent equivalent or whatever the chat thing is called. I don't know the specific brand because we test out different ones at different times. So while somebody's on the page, if they have a question or objection, they can type in that moment, and we'll get notified on the phone because there's an app that's there. So it's not like we're staring at a computer screen all day long, and we're doing other things, and I can just really quickly.
Yeah.
Something that majority of the people will never do is in the top banner where the countdown is and the call to action, everything on our bonus page. I have my real phone number on there. Well, it's like the bat phone. My family doesn't actually call. Like, we talk to each other on Facebook and we text message each other. So like anytime this phone rings, it's either a spam call or it's during an open card. It's like, that's the bat phone. Pick it up.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't. It's not like it's a personal home number that's going to ring off the hook type thing. So I'm like, text me if you got a question. Text me. We can jump on a call.
Yep.
And it's right there. So there's that element as well. There's a couple other things. Maybe people have to scroll to see it when we do our launches, but there's also an exit pop. So when you go and you're like, oh, never mind, I'm going to back out of this. We have an exit pop that comes up, and it's just a picture of me with very casual. Hey, before you go, if you want to jump on a Zoom call, just fill out this form real quick, and I'll reach out to you and we can talk via Zoom. And what's interesting? Just those three, we talk to a lot of random people, and a lot of them convert. And what's cool is that they already feel connected by the time they come into the bonus experience, and they also become raving fans. Like, they come in and buy our back end offers on our end after they go through the main core offer affiliate relationship.
Yeah.
Just because we were accessible.
Yep.
We do things that are not scalable. So I've always been a guerrilla marketer. That might rub some people wrong, and that's okay. We don't do anything unethical, anything illegal. But just like with Chris and with you, it's like, I need to know the rules just so I know how far can I go without going over the line.
Yeah.
And
No, I love that. Do the unscalable is a huge thing. I know we do the same thing. We give them. I use Google Voice. So it still rings. When I want it to.
Oh,
this thing, if you call our Google Voice number 354 days out of the year, 350 days out of the year, whatever, it's just going to go to a voicemail that will get sent to my assistant, who will look at it and decide who needs to handle that. Oh, you didn't get the ultimate affiliate swipe file. It got great. Then that goes to support. They send you the tracking number. It somehow ended up in Timbuktu. Great. We'll send you another one. You call, hey, I'm interested in, coaching, blah, blah, blah. Cool. We'll set it up an appointment, talk, and see if, you could coach. But if you call on cart close day for, whatever we're promoting, you call that Google Voice number, it forwards right here to the magic rectangle. And unless I am on another call or just unable for some reason to take that call at that exact moment, I will answer it. And I actually will go into my settings that day, turn off the block unrecognized callers, which is a feature I love, but I will turn it off, which means, of course, I will get one call where I look at it and go, ooh, seems like it might be spam, but hello? Yes, sir, you've won a crew, and we're done. But that day, I'm answering this thing, and I'm on it for 3 or 4 hours, and I'm closing sales. And I know you've heard me say this because you've been to some of our trainings. They're not long calls. They're 7-10 minute calls. It's usually 1 or 2 questions that they have that are pretty easy for me to answer. And every now and again, I'll talk somebody else out. I'll talk somebody out of buying because I'm like, no, this is not a good fit for you right now. You need to not buy this. They're so thankful that they inevitably end up doing something with us at some point.
Yeah. I think some people test just to see that you actually will answer the phone. I think
I had a guy do that,
and they're like amazed. They're like, "Oh my gosh, it's a human being! I didn't think you really would answer." Because then it reinforces your credibility. That you did answer. You said you can call me and have a conversation, and you do. Can I bring up one other idea that we do?
Yeah,
that
I
we
want to come
learned
back to that, but I
ago?
want to highlight accessibility for just 1 second. I think this is super important. We both probably have a million stories, but this one's probably the most powerful because I want to hear your other thing. I really do. There's a guy now that not only completely changed my life, He became my weight loss coach. He works for us now. He is my host, Alan Thomas, uh, one of my dearest friends in the world. And the guy is changing lives left and right. Came because I put my phone number out there. And what you just said is so powerful because he didn't want to buy. He had been wanting to reach out to me for 6 months to ask if he could help. And he honestly was just testing to see if I would answer. And he called and we played phone tag for a little bit, but we connected. And, fast forward 2.5 years later, he's not only working for us, but he's one of my best friends in the whole world, somebody that I, respect as much as anyone. That's what accessibility can do. And it didn't have to be like, I'm not accessible 365. You call me in the middle of my kid's soccer game, I'm not answering, even if you do have my number. But for those few days out of the year when the bad phone's open, as you would say, I'm accessible. And I think there's some power to that. So go ahead. I want you to share what you were going to share there, but I just want to make sure people understood just how important that can be.
Yeah, just to follow up on that real quick is that it's just we're in this day and age where like nobody picks up a phone, everybody wants to message and be push everybody so far away. And I think all of us are yearning for personal connection.
Yeah.
And I think that little nuance separates you from the rest of the market. But one of what I wanted to bring up is one of the things that we learned years ago. I made a mistake many years ago. It was like 2015, 2016. We did a big launch of a course product, and I was like $6,000 or $8,000 in on Facebook ads, all the PLF stuff, really, really hitting hard. And made a mistake. Number one, don't open cart while you planned a vacation. We were in the Outer Banks,
That's a
and
bad
Melissa was
idea.
not
Yeah.
happy about that. Yeah, I learned there. But what happened though? We first day open cart. It was $1,000 course, one sale, and Melissa and I had like she had a meltdown, and then I reacted off of that. We were very deflated, right? But the next day, I had to
Sounds
come
like a
back
fun
to like
vacation.
yeah, I had to come back to like my marketing background and everything, and like back when I used to have my real estate company, I had to motivate agents and stuff, and I was just like, okay. So the next day, I woke up, I was like, look, we're gonna create, and we talk about this a lot in our programs, but we're gonna create unreasonable rewards so that we don't get emotionally attached to like the sales in a negative way, like a negative pressure, like we're not getting what we want. We need to reward ourselves in an unreasonable way so we can celebrate every sale that comes in. And so we made up a whole bunch of things, and we did very well. That ended up being $135,000 launch for us in the end. So started off with one sale that first day, but by the end of closed cart, like we did incredibly well on that. But so with this PLF launch, I told Melissa, I was like, look, so every first sale that we ever do on anything, we buy ourselves a bottle of Dom Perignon. We would never buy this bottle ever for any reason. It's unreasonable. We would not do that to ourselves. Like
That's
we would,
awesome.
it does financially, we would never buy it. But we just do it just because like we put the energy, the time and effort into this, and we're just going to reward ourselves unreasonably for that first sale. Now, what we did with the PLF launch, I just told Melissa, was like, if we get at least in the top 10, I'm just going to buy something ridiculous that we totally shouldn't have. We should not spend the money on it or anything like that. But it'll just be fun, and it's part of self-care. So, and she laughed and everything. So we did make the top 10 with that. We were six. So I bought a several $1,000 massage chair. So it's something we would never buy ourselves. You ever go into like the airports, the malls, and
Yeah.
you have
I've
these
never
really
used
high
one,
end.
but
Yeah. Oh my
that's
gosh,
a
man,
whole
it's
line of. Do
incredible.
they actually work? Does it work?
Yeah, it is incredible. It's a zero gravity. It's got integrated Bluetooth speaker system. So I put in some meditation music, and it just goes up and down the back and kneads and stretches. It's a really nice high end one. We would have
Inter-
never bought that ourselves. We would have never bought that. It's
I
totally
would never
ridiculous.
leave it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Everybody's addicted to it. I gotta like wait in line between David and Melissa to get on it. But it's just something. What that happens then is then you yourself are gamifying your launch. You're gamifying your own affiliate, because otherwise you're gonna get, when the number isn't doing what you want to do and you're putting all the things, it's like it then makes it fun to answer that phone and talk to the next person. It
Hmm.
makes it fun to send another email. It makes it fun to get on another Facebook Live, because you're now, instead of like, this is exhausting, I'm just trying to get sales, So we normally do like a first sale incentive, a five, like when we do our own launches, like a five, like five sales, 10, then we go 25, 50, 100. And because of that, pre-pandemic, we went to, 3 weeks to Italy and Greece, like our 100K level on one of our launches. We're like, we're just going to go away almost a month, around the world and just have fun. Just totally unreasonable. We would never do it. We would never take the money and do it. But now we gamify our launches. It just makes things fun. It just brings a different meaning to it. So I just at least want to, leave on that or touch on that, just because I think a lot of us, we take this very serious. We need the money to come in, or we're counting on it or something. We allocate it. We have expenses or real world things. And it's like, but then we feel beat down. We feel, the launch hangover, even when it's an affiliate thing. And it's like, if we could just come back and like enjoy the ride, enjoy the journey, gamify it a little bit, have fun with it. How do you so the leaderboard is rewarding you financially in their things, but what are you doing for yourself? Like, what's your rewards outside of just the financial coming in? Like, what's something you can do for yourself?
It's really cool. I love that, dude. That's awesome. Make it fun, create unreasonable rewards. That is so fun.
Yeah.
Paul, man, thank you so much for this. This has been amazing. Before we wrap up, where can people find you? What's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Yeah. So I'd probably say the best thing, I think whenever this comes out, we'll be doing a second season of our podcast and relaunching that in the new year. And that is the onlinemarketingpodcast.com. That'll probably be a great starting point if you just want to kind of dig into our heads and get to know us. But otherwise, on all the social media handles, it's Real Paul Pruitt. So at Real Paul Pruitt is where you can find us. Of course, we have our memberships and courses all like that, but you can kind of find that through those two channels. Too many call to actions just confuses people. So.
I understand. Well, thank you so much, buddy. This has been awesome. And I don't know, are you going to watch this insider profile? Inside of AIM?
Probably not. The funny thing is, even when it comes to like training, like whenever Melissa and I record trainings or podcasts, I cannot hear myself. I'm just like, oh, I can't do it. I cringe. So
I don't ever watch any. I don't watch or listen to my stuff, and it's not because I can't stand it. It's I don't have a need to. I mean, I already know what I said. We have occasionally when I'm working on new material, we will analyze it and like I told this story, and it's like, okay, when I did that, and then I'll accidentally do something like the third time, I'll lean in, and we'll be like, oh, that was awesome. I leaned in. I should do that every time. And now for the next few iterations, my script will say, lean in, and I'll do it. Yeah. I'll do it, and then eventually I get used to it, and I don't need that note anymore. But we'll analyze it. But for the most part, I don't study my own stuff. It's boring. Yeah. Well, dude, thank you so much. This has been awesome. So I hope you got as much out of that. I learned a ton from Paul, and I hope you got as much, if not more, out of it than I did, and as so many of our students have. Listen, if you know somebody who needs this, to hear this message today from Paul, make sure you share this episode with them. Introduce them to the podcast. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the upcoming episodes, and encourage your friend that you share this with to do the same. I mean, this is like episode 640 something. And so we're always releasing, hopefully, amazing content. Hopefully you're getting a ton out of it. And last thing, if you've got any questions about today's content, if you've got a question for Paul, hit me up and I'll be glad to relay it to him. You can text me anytime at 260-217-4619. With that, I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening today. If you know someone who would benefit from hearing this episode, make sure to share it with them. And if you have a question, you can ask it at asktheaffiliateguy.com. Questions make my best episode, and it's a great way to get featured right here on the podcast. And if you're loving what you're hearing, please take a moment to leave a rating and review. That helps others find this content so we can all benefit from it. See you soon.